to something darker. Feel the life drip away. Arise and face me. The night shall consume them.
Hey guys, welcome back. We are playing Vladimir today, and it is one of the gods of the late game when it comes to mid lane champions. So Vlad this season is actually really strong. He has been strong every single season so far because the items are really good for him. He's getting the stats he needs, AP and especially ability haste through Cosmic Drive, for example. So he's in a really good spot right now. And so as for how you want to play the lane, play around that Empower Q. Normally your opponent is going to back off when it comes up, but it's important that you try to get that Q off either on the champion or the minions, because it deals more damage and you also get that HP back. Now you have that E up, so a really useful thing to know is if you get pushed under the tower and all of the caster minions are full HP, then you can simply tap your E once and then the caster minions will be one auto attack away from death after they took a tower shot, so it makes it a lot easier to farm. So when you want to last hit under the tower, just tap that E once and then it's gonna deal exactly the amount of damage you need. So of course, Phase Rush was nerfed by every single champion, and Vladimir was one of the core users of it, so that's why Electrocute is another option right now. It's also really good. The benefit of Electrocute is the fact that you have more kill pressure in the laning phase, and it is a champ that needs to snowball. So, or snowball more, not snowball, but scale up. And if you snowball, of course, that's really good. But he needs items. It is a late game champion, so if you can get kills already in the laning phase, then you're going to be really far ahead of the opponents. Of course, that Akshan E ability is really good for escaping as well. He does get a reset when he gets a takedown. So his early game is not very good. His wave clear is really awful. So you don't really have prio in the lane unless you're playing against a really good matchup. I missed that cannon minion for no reason. So right here, when you see somebody really low HP, then you can go for the dive, because your W is extremely good for tower diving, because you can reset the tower aggro. And because we had the Electrocute up, then we had enough damage, so that's stuff you can pull off on Vladimir. This is something you want to do very often, especially when you hit level 6. So we started with a Dark Seal, and of course it is going to stack up as we get takedowns, kills or assists. And if we get fed, then we get rewarded So it is an item you can start with on Vladimir, and then you can also go for the refillable potion, and you still have a pretty safe start, and then you also get that huge AP power spike if you get kills. Dakshan is going for the roaming, and that is what he's good at. He's also really strong in the early game, so when you play against him you have to respect his early game damage. He can proc that passive really fast, and then he also gets that shield, so he's going to be really strong in those early traits. For late game we just one tap him anyway, so that doesn't really matter. It's only early game where we had to watch out. So we can block him off from the entrance right here. We have level 6, we also have Ignite up, so if he takes this path then we're gonna one-shot him. So we zoned him away from the cannon minion, so he lost the gold and the XP as well, so that's already a massive lead on top of that 2-level lead we have. He hit level 5 and we are almost level 7. So that E into W is something you have to abuse on Vladimir. It makes it impossible to counterplay. There is no counterplay against it. Even if they have exhaust or any CC, then it does not work because they can't target you. This is something you do every single time in a fight. You know, when you flank an entire enemy team, you want to engage or you want to be the one to engage first, then you use this combo. Always make sure to channel your E in your W, don't just tap it, because then you're going to lose out on so much damage. So pull your E down while you're in the pool, and that is basically what you have to do in every single big fight where you want to be the main engage. The Empower Q does deal a lot of damage. We also have a decent amount of sustain, so we can take these trades with him, especially because he does not have health potions. And we can easily heal up. Try to play around that Empower Q. Sometimes the opponent, or most of the time, they should be backing off when your Empower Q is coming up, but you can try to like walk forward and backwards and forward. And then you can also auto tag an enemy minion when your Empower Q is up, because it looks like you're going to use that Empower Q on the minion, and then sometimes they will step forward and then you get a free hit. So there are a lot of different ways you can trick the opponent into thinking you use that Q, and then sometimes they do step up. It does work actually very often, more than it should do. So if Akshan gets behind, then he is going to be really useless. And it is of course really unfortunate that he survives with almost no HP. But we are so far ahead that we can pretty much 1 vs 2 at this point if we have the ultimate up and the ignite as well. We're gonna get a tower plate here, and then we can also push out this wave. So on our recall we can get the rocket belt. That is a core item on Vladimir. You do not want to go for anything else. You can go for Night Harvester, but rocket belt is just better. Get a lot of free magic pin. We are not gonna stay for this one right here, because if he just backs off, then you're also wasting our own time. So get the rocket belt, big power spike, because it also helps with the engaging with the active right there. So You become a lot better at engaging, and then you also get a bit of extra burst damage through that active. So Vladimir is actually pretty easy to play. The hard part is getting through the early laning phase because he's very weak early on, and that is what he should be when he's such a late game monster. He is one of the absolute strongest late game champs, so he has to have a very bad early game, but he does have a lot of sustain, so a lot of the matchup should be manageable. This champion is extremely obnoxious to play against when he's ahead. That's why pretty much no one likes playing against Vladimir. He's so hard to shut down when he's ahead, and he's gonna destroy the entire team at once. Use the jungle camps to heal up with if you're low HP. You do that often with your own jungle camps. If you get poked down too much, then you can just walk to the raptors and then heal up. Remember that your E does get body block, so when you want to wave clear, make sure that you stay in the side of the wave and not right in front of it, because otherwise the melee minions are going to block. So stay in the sides, and then your E can hit every single minion, and then you get to push a lot faster. So we have the Mega Soul Stealer. It's something you want to get every single time if you are ahead. If you have a couple stacks, then it's also fine to get it. If you expect to get fed in a game, then you can just go ahead and buy it. But if you are getting stumped, then of course it's a bad idea, because you won't really get those stacks, and then it's pretty much a waste of gold. Good thing that he did not use the Herald, that would have been a waste. He can use it on the next one. And we can also dive these guys if we want to, guys. Vladimir is insane at diving. Remember that his W does make him untargetable. And when you have electrocute, then you have even more damage than you would ever have with Vladimir. Just barely managed to survive because we had that Empower Q up, so that's really nice. We actually survived this somehow. We are getting a lot of flashes down, so that's fine. We are also insanely fed, almost have a fully stacked Magi's. Normally you can get the boots early on before you even finish the rocket build, and you want to do that if you're playing against a high skill shot matchup where you have to dodge a lot of skill shots. So something like a Syndra could be really good, Serath. Pretty much anyone who relies a lot on skill shots, because if you dodge those, then their impact, or they won't really have that much of an impact in the lane. So getting Cosmic Drive early on is actually really good because you get all of that ability haste, and that is of course a very important stat on Vladimir. You want to get as much cooldown as possible so you can spam these abilities in the fight. You have a ton of damage as well, so you make sure that you have ability haste as well. Because AP, Magic Pen and ability haste are the three super important stats. So we can just keep pushing mid lane. We are snowballing really hard this game. Vladimir, you know, when he gets ahead, very hard to stop. And he only gets stronger from there. 6 item Vladimir is almost a guaranteed win. There's 20 seconds more to go on the flash and the rocket belt is coming up. So if we had the ultimate up right now, then we can also go for that 1 versus 3 dive if we wanted to. But without that, we don't really have that damage to finish them off with. They're gonna escape with like 1 HP. And that electrocute to finish them off with, that's why this feels really good. When you want a lot of burst damage on Vladimir, but you are sacrificing mobility. The thing is, they nerfed Phase Rush. Before the nerf, I always went for that Keystone, but since they nerfed it, then Electrocute is just as good right now. It's probably even better. Because you can just flash combo someone and they're gonna die. Pretty easy to take away jungle camps as well in the mid game because you have these low cooldowns on your abilities, so you can just spam. Especially your E is really good. Just make sure that the monster camps don't body block it, so you make sure that you hit all of the camps. Well, that E is pretty much a nuke at this point. He's super far behind and we are super far ahead, so our E is like ultimate in terms of damage right now. We already took down the mid side, so we're just gonna go bot and then we take away the outer tower so we can go for the final push soon. He is pretty mobile if he gets a takedown. You see, does cover pretty big range, Akshan, but the problem is that if he is in the jungle, then he doesn't really have that much room to move around in, and that's why it becomes really tough for him. Well, we got all of the flashes down, almost had the rocket built up. So this is pretty much what it looks like if you are winning on Vladimir. You know, you're snowballing, getting a couple kills. maybe from your laning opponent or from roaming. But it is not really a champion you're going to roam a lot with. That is not your goal. Your goal is to farm as much as possible just to get your items. You get that rocket belt, you get sock shoes, and then maybe a meta soul stealer, and then you're good to go. That's why you really start playing aggressive and looking for kills, especially roams as well. After the laning phase is over, then you just go to the side lane, because that means that you can keep farming. So you want all that XP for yourself, just like a Kassadin. You want everything for yourself. The healing is also insane on this champ if they don't buy grievous wounds. Most of the time I like to go for Raptor's Death Cap as my next item. I have a lot of gold, so I can recall and go ahead and buy it if I want to. But I like to get that Raptor's Death Cap most of the time on Vladimir, because that gives us such a big damage spike. If we got the Sonya's Hourglass, then we have safety, but we will be losing out on damage. When you do have the Raptor's Death Cap, then you can just flash 1 versus 5 into a fight and pretty much delete all of the squishies. And you can do that even if you are unfit as I am right now. As you can see, if you do combine that E with the W, then there's no counterplay, they're not able to target you, so keep that in mind. And that was the video. I hope this was helpful. As always, see you guys in the next one.